Welcome back to the Inner Alchemist TV. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tarot reading on Arion Curry from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Before we get started, please like this video and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and also that you have your notification bells on. Yes, I know Arionne's not on the show, but obviously she has a lot of relevancy. And so I do tarot readings on her as well. She's a public figure. And then, of course, you guys know I'll be going through the rest of the cast as well. I think I'm going to do Nell Fletcher next. I'm not sure. And then, of course, I'm doing my collective readings. Now, the collective readings can be anybody from viewers, content creators, people who are subscribers in YouTube. If it don't apply, let it fly. You know what I mean? But there's messages in there. There's things that somebody needs to pick up on. And I think that's why I've been called to do those types of readings. They're not targeted, right? But there's still certain things that need to be addressed, right? In the last reading, we talked about going too far, right? And really knowing and understanding when you've already won. There's plenty of people who have died in war and in battle defending themselves. You know, so just because you're on the side of defense does not mean that you're not killing yourself in a fight. It doesn't mean that you're not being sick from stress. It doesn't mean that your energy is not deteriorating. You know what I mean? So it's about leveling things, right? Balance. I think there was a lot of talk about balance. And then there was the snippet about the gays, quote unquote, in the sector who are not off limits if we're doing a collective reading and they exist. If I see male energy in the reverse, then I know that's what we're talking about, especially if it's things like the King of Cups or the Knight of Cups, or even the King of Wands in reverse can represent somebody that's on the down low. I think somebody was gossiping and they said that one of the content creators was married to a down low man, right? So I could even pick up on something like that. It just depends. I'm not homophobic. I don't have anything against gay people in the sector, but you know, the thing is, you just can't help but notice that they don't fight each other. You know what I mean? The gay men are not fighting each other, but they're fighting women, and that's a thing. And all across industries, whether it's Zeus Network, Bravo, Carlos King, YouTube, you see gay men profiting off of black women slaughtering each other, fighting, tearing each other down, arguing, reading each other for filth. There's always a man somewhere with the ability to profit off of something like that. But where do you see black women profiting off of the war amongst gay people and other gay people? It just doesn't happen. And so at some point, I think as black women, we have to examine that. Right? But does that make you against them to say that? No. It just means that what are they going to provide? What are they going to bring to the table? And the bottom line is that a lot of women have internalized misogyny. And women feel safe amongst gay people because they feel like they don't have the potential to have their heart broken or be left single mothers. But any woman that's rooting for any man, because gay men are still men, to fight or be violent verbally, physically, emotionally, or anything towards another woman usually has internalized misogyny, period. Has nothing to do with gay rights and LGBT. Nobody owes them a fucking thing. Nobody's honoring anybody because of who they choose to have sex with. It's not our business in the first place. So there is no caveat. There is no protected class. You know what I mean? So those are things that if a card shows a message coming in that way, that, you know, I'm going to take it that way. That's the type of reader that I am. My gift is sagacity. I have psychic gifts. I have clairvoyance. Every spiritual person has a different set of gifts. You know what I mean? Some people are prophets. Some people are clairsentients. They hear things. They sense. It's all different types of. Some people are telepathic. You know, me, I have telepathy, but that's usually in relationships. Like I can communicate with like a person that I'm emotionally involved with, right? But everybody has a different skill set, and mine is keen discernment, period. You know what I mean? anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to get that out about the last reading because the readings are not targeted. They're just collective readings, and whatever the energies are, I want to put them out there. And like I said, let the hit dogs holler. You know what I mean? If it don't apply, let it fly. And if it applies to you in any way, makes you shift in your seat, think about it deeply. Don't think about don't be paranoid. Think about it deeply. Think about this message and what it may mean to you or for you. Yeah, so that's my disclaimer. Ladies, listen, think about it, right? But let's jump into this reading for Arion Curry. The overall energy for this spread is the Fool card, and I feel like Arion is just looking for a new direction in life, period. And that's just for me glancing over the spread, meditating over it. There's a lot of cards of her, I feel, wanting to kind of break free and really thinking outside the box about how she can maybe manifest or generate a new life for herself, or even get out of a situation. But there's still some lack of understanding on her part, and I think that's really what's keeping her stuck or trapped, maybe. Even though, like I said, I show her breaking free. Now there's a lot of cards here of deep healing, and again, not healing certain things can also keep you trapped. That's why you hear me focusing emphasis on cord cutting, or I may talk about doing like return to sender or justice spells, because when you suffer an injustice or something happens to you, the more you lament and ruminate over injustices like bad breakups, being betrayed by close friends, people doing you wrong, taking your money, however that shit goes, those are the things, those are kind of like quote unquote tricks of the devil. You know what I mean? That's how Satan operates on your mind. When you're operating and dealing with the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit deals with you as well, the difference is that it's more clear. When the devil operates, he more so gives you a feeling about yourself that's riddled with like guilt and shame, and you not really having a clear understanding of how to fix things, how to move, what to do next. That's when you know it's the devil, because there's a lot of chaos and confusion even within your own mind about the messaging. You can be of two minds. When the Holy Spirit is chastising you, you know what you did. You know why you did it, you know how you did it, and you ain't got no choice but to commit to doing it differently because you've been convicted. That's straight up and down, right? A lot of the reason why we don't heal as rapidly as we could is because we're lamenting and ruminating over situations, and we're assigning feelings and meanings to things because the devil has taken hold of our mind, right? But when it's the Holy Spirit, you're very clear, you're very concise. And you have people in place like me that are there to, help guide people to that ultimate wisdom. I'm not the man, okay? I'm just a vessel. I'm just a speaker. I'm just an alchemist, right? I'm a servant. But, ultimately, take to the Lord in prayer. And speaking of prayer, I just did a last reading, and I haven't posted it yet, but somebody's sick, maybe in a hospital, in need of prayer. Be careful who you pray for, how you pray for them, and who you let pray for you. But again, like I said, tarot does not predict death, but I did see 3 or 4 cards related to death. So somebody, like I said, may be in need of healing and may be in need of prayer, because I think, as much as people beef with each other, when a loss happens, it's going to be hard to dance on somebody's grave unless you just that disassociated. Just like when Kiki died, you know what I mean? There was a certain collective sadness about it, you know what I mean? Whatever it was, you know what I mean? And so, even though you have 2 warring or 3 or 4 warring factions, if something were to happen to anybody, I don't see people rejoicing, right? But anyway, so like I said, overall energy for this reading was the Fool card, and it's about new beginnings. It's about starting over, right? I feel like Arion needs to work on having substance. For her, she wants power, but she doesn't want to produce anything. And that's when you have people that sit on the sidelines and get jealous and try to tear other people down. And that's when they get real sleazy and crafty about how they make their way to the top. Just look around at the fruits of people's labor, what they're building. Now, it's not to say that what they're building has to be successful right away, but are they building? What do they have to show for their works? And if they're highly influential, but you look at them and they're underachievers, they don't really have anything going on in life, they don't really have much, much, and it makes you wonder, well, what entitles you to power? And again, that's because it's a power play and it's sleazy. Power with no product, no production is a sleazy type of power. And this is somebody I'm showing trying to gain a bit of influence and power, if you will, in a sleazy way. Instead of relying on things like her inherent gift, because she has an inherent gift for productivity, I don't show her exploiting that. But also, I have 2 pages of cup and a knight in this reading, and that lets me know that she has a lot of maturing to do, especially with this Fool card. But maybe that something's not clicking to her. I think I'm getting ahead in the spread. I'm trying to stay focused. But when you look at an entire spread, you see the whole entire spread. But I can get ahead of myself, and I like to kind of stay in sequence, right? However, this could be Aquarius energy. The cards on the table are Gemini, Virgo, Aquarius. Those are the main star card. Yeah, those are my main characters. Gemini, Aquarius, and Virgo. That's my main energy on the spread. I got 3 Virgo cards. Nine of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, and Magician. Those are all Virgo cards. So anyways, like I was saying, sometimes this can represent somebody that has a pure heart, though. They're just naive and underdeveloped and immature. This is not the arrested development that we may see in a mature woman who is just, this is more like a Peter Pan person, a Peter Pan mentality. Someone that has the big arrogance, like I said, want to have the power, want to act like they're mature in something, but really they're not. They're just foolish. And this can come from being parentified as a child or having an emotionally immature parent who failed to groom you properly. A lot of us have been little girls that have been forced to mature and take on adult responsibilities, but haven't gained the emotional competency of an adult, right? So we still think like children at our big ages. But at the end of the day, the reading is still showing that Arion is a beautiful and creative soul with a lot of potential. Now, maybe she lets her swagger and her flamboyance get in the way. Because the Fool card, he's so busy trying to show himself, right? Trying to get false senses of power that they're not putting in the actual productivity. What they say, the proof is in the performance. Okay? Where the working girls at? We're the ones that like to outdo everybody. That's me. I have a very high work ethic because the proof is in the performance. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Arion's faced with a choice, and this choice is going to affect the outcome of her life moving forward. And that's what this Fool card is about for me. It's about taking a risk. And there's a bit of trickster energy here. I will say that because of the Fool card. But I think that trickster energy comes from her vying for power. But like I said, being very naive and being, kind of childlike. And being sleazy, not knowing how to get ahead without being deceptive or lying or being sneaky about how she chooses to go about it. That's the overall energy for the spread. The reading is opening up with the star card. Aquarius energy. Like I said, the star card is about mental health. You know what I mean? It's about healing. It's about having hope, but it's about your mental health being affected by the situations and circumstances around you. And those circumstances are the 3 of Swords in reverse and the Ace of Cups in reverse, which are both cards of heartbreak and betrayal even sometimes. Now, on a higher consciousness, with the Ace of Cups in reverse being clarified by this Magician, I would say that Arion is probably in therapy or needs to be. However, this is also her subconsciously manifesting a breakup, and maybe on some levels even secretly wanting to get out of her situation with Martell. Sometimes you can long for, a certain type of freedom. Now, it may not be something that comes out of your own mouth, because believe it or not, a lot of women are addicted to the way they invest in situations. A lot of women are addicted to the power games and not wanting to lose. But all of that is karma and consequence for you not really standing in the reason why you don't want this relationship. Anytime a woman is picking a relationship that's full of ups and downs, a lack of commitment, she herself is running from something. It may seem like you're sticking around and you're chasing a man and he's not available. No, it's really you. Because if you were ready and available, then those things would not hold any attraction to you. You're not going to be attracted to somebody that's playing games with you or cheating on you or being mentally abusive. With this star card, I know that Arionne's mental health is affected just across the board. Like I said, a lot of childhood energy here with the Page of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles. Something went down at some type of social event, and I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe the other woman showed up at some type of party or some type of gathering where everybody was, because there's third party energy here. I got the Three of Swords and I got the Three of Cups in reverse and the Ace of Cups in reverse. This is all about, like I said, cheating, breaking up a happy home. However, the reason why Arion can't really get that deep healing that she needs is that she keeps taking baggage with her. She keeps collecting, what they say, bag lady or bone carrier. She keeps collecting bags everywhere she goes. Even as that Fool card wants to jump off the cliff and try something new, they still holding on to a satchel of emotions, past pains and hurts, which actually keeps you from moving forward. So even though you have this Magician card and it's like the divine is saying, okay, you want to leave, I'm gonna give you all the tools. You got the self-will power, you can be creative about where you go, how you get there, because I show she's trying to move either out of state or into a new home. You got everything at your disposal, but you're not actually saying the words, I'm not with this person, or I don't want to be with this person. There's something that's keeping you from that. And I think that what's keeping you from that is how far you've come. But like I said, like my gay friend told me, pay it. Just because you're this far in doesn't mean you continue to go further and further in. You pay it and you move forward. She's not paying it. She's holding on to, I don't know. For me, it looks like she's holding on to power. That's the only way I could see it. I feel like she's holding on because she feels like it would be a loss if she let go, but a loss of power. Yeah, definitely. The Star card is asking you to release and to give up your ego. Pull out that unconscious energy that makes you think that you want to stay in a situation that you're secretly manifesting your way out of, right? Because once you set the wheels in motion that you want to break up with somebody, spirit, universe, Holy Spirit, however you behold that entity, it's going to respond. And a lot of us women can manifest breakups for ourselves for whatever reason. You may just recognize that a relationship is unhealthy, or it may breed a lot of confusion that you ain't even got time to figure out. And you can find yourself saying like, oh, I need out of this. And rest assured, a sequence of events will happen that will pull you out of that situation. Unless you are just hell bent on going back in it. And that too is your choice. But you can't be of two minds. I have the Two of Swords here later on in the spread. And that reminds me of somebody being of two minds. And like I said, for these two minds, the two minds are, I don't want to do this anymore, but my power is in holding on to the situation, which makes it sleazy because you don't want the nigga, you don't want the situation, but you feel like you're not finna lose or you're not finna give it up because that's your last bartering trip, or that's your last validation of self-worth is winning. A fool's gold, Fool card right there. Let's go. Come on, talk to me. Most definitely. So this is somebody that's seeking notoriety. Like I said, being in that trophy position for all the wrong reasons. This is all about being superficial. And you wonder why a relationship doesn't work. Like, a lot of people think that men are just, bullshit, and a lot of them are, but a lot of them have intuition too about a person that they're supposed to be with. And so when they're spending 10 years with you, I remember my child's father told me, he's like, listen, because he was with his girlfriend for like 7 years and they were allegedly engaged, and he was like, I'm never gonna marry her. He's like, if I was gonna marry her, it would have been done by now. And of course me, because I'm women's empowerment. Like, don't get it twisted. But my version of empowerment is accountability. So don't think because I'm women empowerment that I'm going to join the sisterhood and absolve women of all responsibility to themselves. That's not empowering to me. But me, I'm like, who the fuck are you to hold? Why would you hold somebody hostage if you don't plan on being with them? Like, what is that about? Like, that shit is not getting no cool points with me. You know what I mean? But he said it, and that was the thing, and that's how they think. They will be with you because you love them. You know what I mean? Because and they will wholly not love you. He'll be like, I don't love her. I'm like, does she love you? Hell yeah. What? Well, true love begets true love. So what makes a man think that a woman loves him that he don't love? What makes him think that it's not two sides of the same coin? I mean, the arrogance is daunting, ain't it? Anyways, listen, let's move forward, because you see your girls getting caught up. I'm getting PTSD, okay? Oh wee. Anyways, this Ace of Cups in reverse can also represent, being repressed, but I think that repression is maybe the cause of you not being able to go into that magician energy. In order for you to manifest, right, or alchemize, I know I use the term alchemize because I believe in spiritual alchemy. I believe in refining your spirit and your soul. But what keeps you from being able to do that is a lot of repressed emotions. So if you guys are into astrology, if you look to Saturn, I think we got like 6 planets in retrograde. Like I said, get on your return ascenders. Whether you're doing the work yourself or you need to get a tool like my spiritual intention oil to help you, get on top of your return ascenders, because the whole rest of 2025, 6 planets are in retrograde. Send all that shit back. Break demonic strongholds. Break glamour magic. Break all the spells and negativity sent on your life. Break it. Do it now. And be vigilant and diligent about it. It's not something you can do one time. You have to obsess over it. You have to put as much energy as you put into all this other shit into that. At least 15 minutes a day. You know what I mean? But some people can't do that because they have a lot of repressed energy. And so until you clear a lot of your repression, quote unquote, it's harder for you to manifest. And that's when you reach out to other people like an alchemist, like myself, or a Reiki healer or something like that. You know what I mean? Now, repressed energy can make you closed off. And a lot of people that you see running around with their nose in their air, giving you their ass to kiss, it's because they're repressed. And nothing can come out of that because essentially the heart is closed. And with this Ace of Cups, I show the heart is closed. And even though Arion is literally trying to manifest a new life for herself, a new beginning, a new partner, breaking away from Martell, her repressed emotions and blocked off energy about the situation is actually keeping her stuck there. And then, so when people can't persist in the new direction, what do? They return back to the old. And then you've lost all your ground. They don't have the courage or the attention span to persist in a new direction that doesn't have immediate results or immediate gratification. And so then you start recycling the same energy, and that's what's going on with her. She is very repressed. Most definitely. I feel like she needs to cry. Star card is here. Water overflowing, pouring from the soul. Ace of Cups, water overflowing, pouring from the soul. This is somebody that needs to cry, that wants to cry, but is very afraid to bring their own feelings to the surface, and very afraid of what may come out because it is hard. The murderous rage you feel when you allow all that shit to come back up, the lives you want to fucking take, right? it's not a easy feeling to deal with. And like I say, you have to get into a good headspace to do that. When I went through mine, it was a choice. You're going to come to the proverbial crossroads. And it's like, listen, is you ready to take this trip? And I was scared. I was like, damn, I'm raising a teenage daughter. I don't want to lose my mind. I don't want to have a nervous breakdown, because I already knew I was filled up with it. But subconsciously, I was agreeing to the process at the same time. And the Holy Spirit took over me for 3 years, the last 3 years, about a year or so ago. And oh my God, the work. Hello, the work. But it's not easy. I mean, the anger, the short temperedness, the screaming, like it's ugly down there. But that's when you become a fully integrated woman, and you're able to be in your fullness of your power in this magician, and you can manifest, and you can decide your life at will with the breath. I can change something, and it's not because of anything inherent in me. It's because I'm under total control of the divine spirit, period, point blank. How I met my deities, who became my friends, right? So yeah, a part of her won't even let go of this whole relationship is because she's afraid to feel the depth of her anger or sadness that she's been holding on to, because she's going into a power thing and trying not to lose, or saving face, or getting her dignity out of a situation by holding on to a man as a fucking nanny boo boo. You know what I mean? You're not hurting nobody but yourself, sweetheart. Right? You're doing it to yourself. So she needs a breakthrough, and that's what the Ace of Cups is about. Now, I was telling you guys earlier, her breakthrough looks like it's gonna come through a whole phase. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. There's promiscuity here, right? Knight of Pentacles is here. That's a very sensual energy, even though it's slow moving. But Virgos are very sensual anyways. Like Virgo women, Virgo people are beautiful people with a lot of sensuality. But again, a lot of that is repressed because they have such judgment and powers of analysis that, it's a blockage in a way. But when it gets to that bedroom, I don't think that matters. You know what I mean? The chandeliers you will be hanging from, right? But I feel like hers is going to come through a whole phase. But anyway, so Saturn. I was trying to explain to you guys that if you want to look to your Saturn, which is in retrograde right now, by the way, it will tell you where your karma or where your work needs to be done, right? So for me, I have a Saturn in Libra, right? That means that a lot of my work is going to come through relationships, not just love relationships with friends, relationships with my image, my body image, my self-image. When I grew up, I had a very repressed body image because of my mother, body shaming. We grew up in a generation where mothers were pretty much conditioning you that men are rapists, you know what I mean? And every man has a potential to do something to you. So don't sit like this, don't walk like this, don't stand like this, don't be natural femininity, don't be sensual. And these were things that came natural to me, but I was reproved because of. And then it took my dad on the back end to tell me, you're beautiful, you're sexy, to put that value back in me and empower me. Right? But then it made me rely on sexual attention or validation as empowerment. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was the only empowerment that I had, because what I was taking from my mom was disempowering, because she was basically telling me that everything that I was going to get me some type of, backlash or negative result or exposure to something tumultuous. And that's based on her own thing that she went through, right? That's how generational curses are passed down, through the advice and good intentions of what hurt and traumatized people, right? So if you look to your Saturn, and like I said, if you have a Saturn Libra, a lot of your karma, a lot of your lessons, a lot of your information is gonna come through relationships. Some of y'all's is gonna come through money. Some of y'all's is gonna come through your health. Some of y'all's is gonna come through work, right? You have to look at that planetary alignment, and then you can start looking at that area of your life and start to get the reparations going. By reparations, I mean repair. You know what I'm saying? Three of Swords is in the unconscious energy. That just mirrors the Ace of Cups in reverse. As above, so below. We got the Magician card confirming that for me. I feel like this Four of Wands is here with this Six of Swords because I feel like Arion wants to move states, wants to move cities, but it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, there you are. You can go to DC and Atlanta and hoe it up all you want to. It's just another form of escapism. Some women believe that the way to get over one is to get under another one. But again, you're not dealing with all of that shit up in there. And it's going to come out at some point. I remember I used to go to, you guys know I'm heavy into self-help. And I used to go to these group, like it was a codependence group. And when I tell you 60-year-old women, 70-year-old women in these groups balled up in tears about not dealing with things that happened in their childhood, relationship, things that were going on with their children, things that happened with them, things that were going on with their deceased parents, hadn't taken a moment out of their day in their youth to resolve such things because they were so engrossed in controlling others and running families and being women. And now they're 60 and 70, empty nest. There's no other scapegoats or distractions. Your kids have abandoned you because you're so tragic, and now they're just stuck with themselves, and they're in groups in the fetal position crying. And it was through a lot of those group therapy sessions that I realized, like, bitch, you ain't got no problems at all. You need to go live a little. I was like, you a whole crybaby. Because I hadn't tasted what it's like to be a woman and having this journey. I got the Page of Cups here. Again, another card of immaturity, but that Page of Cups is clarified by the King of Swords in reverse. The King of Swords in reverse is a narcissist as an external person. So this would to me look like narcissistic abuse that constantly is emotionally manipulating her. That's what the Page of Cups is about. It's about emotions. All the Cups energy is about emotions. But when it's clarified by a Swords cards in reverse, it's just somebody smarter than you, emotionally manipulating you and having the upper hand over you if it's another person. But if it's you, it's showing a mental instability, and this is coming in as actual Arion. It's not the external energy, it's her, and it's showing that she is mentally unstable. And it's because, again, of all the things that we just talked about, right? But mainly it's her not understanding what the hell is going on between her and Martell, and not realizing that she could perhaps being narcissistically abused, but her not getting that. And it's showing that you need to step up to the plate and get some type of handle on your life. And like I said, get over this Peter Pan syndrome. Stand in the consequence of your actions. But instead of you doing that, you want to be flamboyant, highfalutin, flossing it around and using that as some kind of, power play. And you dying inside. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ain't nobody falling for it. Because you don't have nothing to show for it. You don't have the products, right? Now, and like I said, this is not about a business that's moving slow. You know what I mean? Because I'm in business. I've been through many cycles trying to develop myself as a small business entrepreneur on the side. Of course, I have a job, right? But this is about somebody who ain't got nothing going on. Nothing. You ain't even putting brick by brick. You ain't got nothing going on. Two of Swords is here in reverse, distracted, external energies, and like I said, fighting and needing, and again, I feel like this is still wanting to escape. Six of Swords is here, you want to escape. Fool card is here, you want to escape. Two of Swords is here, you want to escape. But I don't think that I think that your desire for fame and power overrides your intuition to get the fuck up out of here. And so what happens now, you got anxiety and you want to get rid of that. You want to get all of these feelings off of you, not doing the work. Three of Cups in reverse still have people that are wishing and praying on her downfall consistently, a coven. When I see the Three of Cups in reverse and the hopes and fears or in any negative position in the tarot, I know that this is people working against you. And again, this could be people putting things like freezer spells, blockage spells, coming together, chanting, singing. These particular people sing and dance over their enemies. That's their way of doing magic. They chant. But you can break that. Black magic, I'm speaking to you. I speak to your chaos. I see how you move. I speak to destroy. I speak to remove. I see through your games. I see through your tools. Right? You can break that. But you got to be aware. And when you're tying yourself up in a bunch of bullshit, you don't even know that you under attack or that you're going through. What are signs of spiritual attack? Anxiety. Definitely. Depression is a sign. Depression, oversleeping, those are signs of death spells. Seeing flies. Not in the summer when it's a barbecue, but in your house on a random with all the window closed. What is this fly doing here? Why is there a fly in my office and there's no windows in here? What is this fly? Your hair may be thinning. Your eyes may be bloodshot. You may have heavy menstrual cycles. All of these are signs that people are doing spell work on you. You know what I mean? It's not just simple. Your finances could be out of whack, but let's be honest. A lot of us lack discipline. That's practical. Unexplained illnesses, feeling off, being lethargic, waking up tired, losing your will. These are all signs that you're under spiritual attack. But if you don't know the signs and you think, and you're so accustomed to trauma and so accustomed to living in discomfort, you don't know when to start countering attacks, and you don't know when to start sending your return to senders back. I used to be a person who was heavily against return to senders because, like I said, what they do is their karma, what you do is yours. But then I learned along my spiritual journey that justice is important to balance. Otherwise, you're living in resentment of being treated misfairly, and then you harboring that repressed emotion actually blocks your manifestation. So yeah, we settle in scores. We hurting bitches if that's what they choose to do to us. Now, am I going to proactively go out and wish harm or evil on anyone or anything? No, I'm not. But if I feel even a tinge of the Holy Spirit warning me of you, and that boomerang is going out, right? You will get off of me. You will get off of me. But you got to go through tests, because you do have to be level-headed, logical, and you have to abandon your emotion. It's never about feelings. It's always about logistics, right? Anyways, that's what I have for Arion on this late night spread. I really hope you guys are enjoying this reading, these videos. And I will see you guys on the next reading. Don't forget to smash that like button, okay? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, that you have your notification bells on. And as usual, as always, please check me out on the Inner Alchemist at Etsy. And I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Peace.